All right, let me tell you a story about the bridge. Someone asked me yesterday, guys, this bridge really represents one time when I was young. I was scared. I was literally scared and terrified to go into dark woods during like snow in Connecticut. And I crossed the bridge into the most beautiful thing ever. And it was the most beautiful thing ever. What up, Rebecca? We're gonna see her this weekend at the event. Right now, this is a Changing Lives Live. We're gonna have someone, Charles Hapkin talk. We have everybody coming in here. So literally, Passive Income Possible is the title. And we're going to have a passive income expert on it. Income Possible today. Let me type this in. So November 9th, we're doing an Investors Summit. So Investors Summit, I will be sharing at it. Investors Summit, but we're going to have the guy in here. Let's see. George, I keep calling him Jorge, but it's George. Investor Summit, November 9th. And there's a guy, Mike Veneer. I'm putting this in here, November 9th. All right, I think that's the date. Pretty sure that's it. So write down the day, November 9th. If you have it in your calendar, we're going to give you an exciting thing then. Where's everybody calling in from? We got Lucas. Oh, there he is. We did. He saw what he was doing. Promoting. He is at the venue now. There he is, the guy who's been on Telemundo. He has a passion for helping Latina Americans, and he's uber dude.
Yeah, I have a wife and 3 kids.
Ahead of me with wife and kids, right? You got wife and kids too?
Yeah.
3 kids, man. So he's Superman.
So I'm sitting here in the actual venue where we're going to be hosting our event on November 9th. Our Blueprint to Financial Freedom event by Investor Den.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. I love everything you're launching with Investor Den and where you're at. But more of this, I want to do this more to learn about you. We're going to ask some questions really quick for it. We can get into that thing. So, guys, write down November 9th. I know some people are already asking me when I let them know. We're going to let you more information on that. We have some offline.
No. So again, I just want to be able to clarify. So this event is for everyone and anyone who wants to learn how they themselves can actually acquire cash flowing assets that will then yield them passive income returns. So it's not for necessarily in terms of like investors investing into a fund or anything like that. No, we want to teach you and give you the tools so that you can learn the steps in the process so that you can actually be the owner of the asset and make that asset work for you and generate you the cash flow. So again, I just want to be clear about that because you don't have to be an accredited investor because you actually will be the owner. You're the principal in the ownership of the asset. So we're not a fund, and it's not like we're raising capital from a fund's perspective. So just to clarify.
Okay, now, I remember the first time I had passive income was when I had my 4 unit. I remember leaving one day, getting like a $1,200 in the bank, thinking, man, this is the best feeling ever. And then me being the risky entrepreneur, I took the cash flow. Instead of hiding it for repairs, I invested in a lead generation software. So I'm your typical entrepreneur like that. When was the first time you kind of felt, the blueprint?
So, let me take you back a little bit further than that because, I've had the company since 2015. But prior to that, I've actually been in the real estate space in one capacity or another since about 2002 when I graduated college. I was fresh out of Florida State. I'd gotten my bachelor's degree in finance, and at the time I had a choice, right? So I thought I initially wanted to be a stockbroker. And so I went and, I had a company, company based out of Chicago, and they were looking to sponsor me for my Series 7. And in a couple of weeks into being at that company, I sort of realized that it really wasn't for me. It wasn't really my style, if you get what I'm saying. Just kind of always hitting the phones and kind of like that fast talking, kind of Northeast New Yorker type, feel to it and kind of high pressure sales, and that really is not my style. So at the time, I had a couple of friends that I graduated around the same time as I, and they had just started working at a mortgage company at a lender, and so I decided to give that a try, and it went well for me. I never looked back. From there, I actually went on to open a my own mortgage company with my mother actually as my business partner, and she was the broker of the firm, and I was heading up sort of the underwriting and processing department, and we were doing very well for quite a while. Obviously, at this point, I started to dabble into investing, and I had bought a couple of little condos. I had bought my own place, and things were going really well right up until about 2008, when the bottom fell out. And I was at the forefront of that because being in the mortgage industry, we were the first ones being affected. Once banks started shutting down, our business started drying up, and one thing led to another. Some of my my properties, all of my properties actually, including my own primary, where I live, all went underwater within a matter of 6 months. I mean, I went from having over $300,000 in equity to being underwater by about the same amount, about 250,000 in equity, and different things going into default, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy. And before it was popular, for those of you who are familiar with short sales, it didn't really have a name yet at the time. This is late 2007, end of summer going into fall 2007, before the official crash actually hit. I kind of got that first wave, being in the forefront, being in the trenches at the time, and I ended up trying to figure out what to do. I started looking into different options, and I would call the bank, and unbeknownst to me, I was actually negotiating my own short sales on my own properties, and I was luckily I was successful at it. And eventually, we ended up having to shut down the business because there was basically a nationwide lending freeze, and so with all the banks having to be bailed out to begin with, and so I kind of pivoted, and I took my banking and lending knowledge, and I went to work at a consumer defense law firm that was specializing in defending foreclosure clients, people that are in foreclosure. And I basically started creating what became known as the loss mitigation department, and then that eventually became kind of popular. And so I headed up the loss mitigation department. So I was negotiating short sales, loan modifications, reduced settlements, and all these different type of structures that were basically the way out of the foreclosure for a lot of these people. Attending mediations and everything like that, and I kind of fell in love with the legal process. So through that, I decided to go to law school. But knowing that I never really wanted to practice, at the time I kind of wanted to focus more on mediations and that kind of thing. I ended up getting my my law degree, so I do have my Juris Doctorate, but I don't practice because that side of it wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I did want to have the knowledge. And so through the years, I did that from about 2009 to about 2015, right until I opened the company. And the way that came about, interesting story. So as the head of the loss mitigation department, one of my responsibilities was to review all the contracts that were coming in for the clients that we're representing that were short selling. They were the sellers that were short selling properties. And I started to notice a pattern. I started to notice a lot of repeat buyers coming back. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I just see this company or this guy buy a property last month, and so on and so forth? And I started seeing a couple people like that, and I decided, well, hang on one second. I want to do what they're doing. I want to be on that side of the table. And I started educating myself. I started, getting the education, going to conferences and mentorships, and really investing in my knowledge. Mind you, while I'm in law school, I still, was in the process of finishing law school. I still have my finance degree. I've had my mortgage license. But this was sort of a different spin, with the creative financing and different ways of doing things. And so, eventually I ended up leaving the firm to open Keystone Property Investments. My first client actually came was a client of the firm, and I was then the one that was buying their property, and I did a simple, a wholesale assignment transaction, and I turned my initial $1,000 investment into 20K in about 4 weeks or so, and I never looked back. And then from there, it just started to scale and grow and grow and grow. Eventually, we started rehabbing. I mean, at one point, we were rehabbing up to, I would say close to about 40 houses a year between 2016 and 2019. But that's the thing. I was still sort of trading my time for money. And so that's when I eventually made another transition into, instead of selling the houses, I was just keeping them. And so I was using a strategy called the BRRRR method, where basically I would buy it, rehab it, refinance it, take my money out and repeat and go buy another one. And that's when I started to create the passive cash flow. And from there, it's just kind of taken off, while we created KPI Capital Partners. So now we do have investors. We use what's called the syndication model. So now when we buy a property together, and I say together because our investors are basically our funding partners. So, we'll form an entity where we're actually co-owners on properties, and now we're creating cash flow for them as well, while at the same time while we're creating cash flow for ourselves. And things just kind of started to snowball from there, and, we're continuing to grow. And then, from there, we started sort of diversifying into other things, such as the digital assets and some of the luxury stuff that are also cash flowing. And that's basically how it all sort of came about. We turned the negative into a positive, almost, the brink of losing everything. And just a short few years after, here we are and continuing to grow.
Well, yeah, dude, your story actually is very typical. There's a guy, Marks the Millichap, one of the guys. He does. Basically, he went through 2008 same way, and it made him so much stronger. A legend like you. I keep partnering with all these real estate passive income legends. So you're no different.
Sure.
I'm very excited about. But before we get into the event, I want to ask you more questions about you, so everybody can learn you. Is that okay? So we're gonna do it in a format, because if I don't have a script, I'm done. So really quick, this format is what we usually do here. If I just say, what's one word that makes you unique? I think I asked you this the other day. What would you say it is?
Let me see. Off the top of my head, I would honestly say resilient, resourceful.
In my name.
I mean.
Yeah, definitely resilient was the one that came to mind by you going through everything in 2008, and you just breezed through it and said everything that you did. Yeah. Kind of go, now we have KPI investments. Dude, it's so hard to do that stuff. Oh, I just went and got my law degree, but I don't really use it. I knew I was going to do it. And also genius. And then you didn't even. Univision. I haven't gotten to Telemundo yet, but I'm a regular contributor on a few of the morning shows on Univision. Yeah. Okay, Univision. Yeah, dude, which is amazing. That's cool. So you're almost like a celebrity in your own route. But where would you put yourself in the passive income game? Because that's now where we're at. Your guys. Well,
so I honestly, not to sort of toot my own horn. I would say expert versus trusted advisor, only because everything that I've done, everything that I'm actually sharing and teaching now, I've already done myself. So, one of our mantras is that I would never, show or teach or ask someone to do something that we already haven't done ourselves and it's been true, tried, and tested. And so I think what makes me an expert is all the, trial by fire, trial by error, and knowing what works and what doesn't. Because rather than me going and, as a, let's say, no offense or knock on financial advisors, but, I wouldn't necessarily trust someone who's telling me what to do with my money unless I know that they're already doing it with theirs. And sometimes that's not necessarily the case when you're talking to, certain financial advisors. They're just kind of there, basically as a sales position. But what we're doing, we're the principal. Yeah.
Especially, no, so there's three parts, especially insurance agents. I did leads for insurance people. No. And they're listed.
No, absolutely not.
And listen, I don't begrudge anybody's way of making living, but I have I have more respect when it is. There's 3 ways to learn. There's theory, where you teach from a book, being a teacher. There's witness, when you watch some of that, and there's application. And everybody, when you've been through and you already proved it, I'll 100%. By the way, I love your humility, because you're a rock star, and you're like, well, I don't want to say it. You're totally an expert. And now doing this event, which someone just asked, where do I get more info? November 9th. Someone else wanted to know. So if you DM me an event, we'll do something for you offline as well. I'll get you the direct link. You can also go to.
Plus, listen, honestly, I'm sitting at the venue. I mean, you're going to be sitting staring at this view all day long when you're at the event, just to add a little bit extra incentive. I mean, I picked this for a reason. So, I mean, you can't beat it,
Yeah, dude, people are going to, yeah, exactly. So we have Angela's event that I'm just finishing promoting. We ran a contest. We'll probably do a contest for this one as well. I think that's the one thing I wish with the Angela's event we would have done sooner. It just got more people interested. Everybody loves the contest, right? So
yeah. So one of my business partners, he owns a resort and marina in Bimini in the Bahamas, and so because we're friends, brothers, business partners. I mean, we have a lot of stuff together. He was gracious enough. Actually, funny story. No. Gary, we're doing something else with Gary, so that's going to be kind of a surprise that we're going to be offering. But that's actually to another resort in the Bahamas. That's a different thing. This is a raffle for a free 2-night stay that we're talking about right now, which is just a raffle for anybody that comes in and gets a VIP ticket, along with all the other perks that you'll have as a VIP guest. But funny story, I'll tell you this. So this is a good friend of mine. I started to create this promotion. I was already running it, and I finally saw him maybe like about a week ago, and I was like, hey, by the way, I'm giving away a free 2-night stay at your resort for my event. And he's like, oh, thanks for letting me know. When were you planning on telling me? I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now. So it's nice to have friends like that,
Well, that's good. Well, if anything, we'll get them over. That's funny, man. I do that too with my friends all the time too. Hey, we're running ads for Angela. 5 days before, we just got our ads up by Georgia Silver Spoon. All right, really quick. What I want to go into is I'm going to learn about you, ask some questions, your current knowledge, your strength, weaknesses, how they both benefit you. Probably won't go through all this. You yourself as business, your mission statement, how people learn audio vision, and 2 people assignment. This is just more so people learn. So really question.
So I was born in Colombia, in a city called Barranquilla, Colombia, which now in the past, I would say about a decade or so, Colombia has become a lot more popular than it used to be. A lot of, there was a time no one knew where that was, but now I find more and more people know. So, English is actually my second language. I came to the United States when I was 7 years old, second grade. Didn't speak the language, had to take all the, English for, second language speakers and the whole nine. And I grew up here in Miami pretty much my whole life. After, once I came from Colombia.
Wow, dude, so lucky, man. Going from Colombia, from here, not speaking English, to speaking here when you're growing up, it makes sense why you're so darn likable. There was something about your energy I liked. I just spent some time.
I have actually.
I don't know. There's something about people. Have you ever been to Connecticut? Don't go. They just said on BBD's podcast, Big Macs are $18 there. I don't even eat them. But Connecticut, it's not. Listen, I just.
So like I said, my mom is my business partner to this day. We've been business partners for going on almost 20 years now. So we through one of our divisions, we do have the standard the real estate brokerage, which that's another story in of itself. We created just to basically sell our own inventory when we were flipping 35, 40 houses a year, and then since then we've grown that into more commercial and luxury stuff. But she's the broker for that. So yeah, my mom's been my business partner since about 2004, 2005, and here we are going into 2024. She'll be at the event too, by the way. So
wow, that's awesome,
get to meet her.
Yeah, I love that. Was she really? Oh, that's cool. So I'm going to do a later event that my dad's actually helped me more in my business, and I like to. He's more right than wrong. Our parents are. The whole time I try to prove him wrong, right? Isn't it so true? So, what's one
sad or upset? That's a good question. I can tell you what makes me frustrated sometimes is, when I have certain expectations of things to happen a certain way, and I kind of sometimes expect sort of people to operate at a certain level, and when they don't, I find that frustrating. I don't know if that answers the question. In terms of sad, I mean, it's if I see my kids upset or sad, it kind of, that upsets me. So, but yeah, I mean, it's that's a tough one.
Look, someone just sent me a DM because I'm trying to send the DM Wi-Fi password to somebody here. Can you send me the event link for November 9th or any info about it, since I won't be able to attend the other one either? Gotta love the life. So this is something, they just sent me their number. All right, cool. All right, this is a good sign. All right, so what's so Saturday upset the most? Let me ask you this. Sorry, that caught me off guard. I'm trying to send. This is middle of my work day here. What do we got here? All right, so the next question is, what's one thing, what's one thing
what I've realized, and I think I was talking to you about this before, man, like what I've realized is that even though, my business has been doing well and everything like that, ever since I kind of felt like some sort of a void. And this is my passion project, because ever since I started, doing my speaking engagements and talking to crowds and sort of sharing my knowledge and I don't know if you've told this to your audience. I mean, this is really my first, what I would say, paid event. I mean, I've been for the past few years, I've been just trying to provide as much value as possible to different private groups and everything like that. And I feel that that's kind of like the most fulfilling. And now that I've sort of launched this endeavor with Investor Den, this has become my passion. And to be honest with you, I find myself being a lot happier because I'm feeling more fulfilled. And that's, it may sound cheesy, but it's the honest to God truth.
Yeah. So, by the way, no, by the way, even the deal that we kind of got that we're working together, we'll probably do some more stuff later down the road when that stuff. I've been doing this for 5 years. I love it, man. I literally love it. I've done it. I definitely didn't take maybe some other risks like Bitcoin or some things when I watched some people do some stuff that made more money. But we're not going to die with it all, right? I just came from church just recently, and they did the verse of you can't serve two masters. And me, dude, we're in Miami. We get caught up in the entrepreneur life. It's really good to see, hey, what really matters. What really matters is giving the knowledge that you've got, dude. You have all this knowledge to give someone who can hear from you to help them create a better life for their own. Because you've already created a pretty darn good life by going through everything, right? So I totally get why that's the passion. So any way I can help, even with this event, and this is kind of, it's funny, Angela, this is like her second event, her first all-women's event that she's doing, and that's November 4th. I'll actually probably get some people and let people know when I'm there at that event. But
my favorite thing to do, I would say, spending time with my kids, and I like to work out, man. I like to be physical. I like to go to the gym. I like to go for runs. I coach my son's soccer team. I actually just signed up for the half marathon down in Islamorada and the Miami Marathon. So, coming in January. So I got to have marathon probably like 2 weeks after the event, and then in January I'll be doing the one in the big one, the Miami Marathon.
Yeah, we talked, man.
Yeah, I just wrapped up my 10 miles that day. I think it was on Sunday. Yeah, I was wrapping up my 10-mile run there.
Dude, that's. I mean, you're training, you're doing it. How? By the way, you're coaching your.
So my son is 6. He'll be 7. Yeah, he's 6. He'll be 7 in June next year. Yeah. Yeah.
That's that. You're getting to like the best ages: 6, 7, 8, 9. My ex-girlfriend had a little 8, 9-year-old. They're so curious and not disrespectful. They want to just do their.
Now my daughter, she's 12, and so she's already too cool for me. She doesn't really.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's why I said, I know, man. Like, for any ladies out there, I'm not married or anything. If I did a girl,
so I
had a kid, like 6.
Yeah, I have one more round because my 3-year-old, she's still, she's still daddy's girl. So I'm still kind of like in that in between. So because I have 3, so
Dude, wow. All right,
man, so I just came back from about a month-long trip. I was in Dubai that was for business, one of the things I was doing. But then from there, I went to Italy. I hadn't, I've been through other places in Europe, but we spent pretty much about 3 full weeks in Italy, just kind of through all the places. And I really fell in love with it, man. Everywhere, we started in Capri. Say that again?
Are there beaches in
So
Italy?
if you go to like Sardinia, which is like the island
Palm
that's
trees
off
or
the
beaches
coast
in
that has the
Italy?
best beaches. Other than that, it's just like very like cliffs and stuff like that. Some of the beaches are rocky, but it's just beautiful. And as a matter of fact, my wife and I are talking now about maybe trying to get a little place somewhere in Italy, since we just got back about 3 weeks ago from our trip. But it's my new favorite place.
Maybe because Robert, one of my other clients was just in Italy for asked the girl to marry him out there, I think. I'm half Italian.
Yeah, if you have you're from Italian
Everybody keeps
descendants,
telling me
you
Italy's
can
great. It's
actually
crazy.
apply and you can
All right,
get like
cool.
your residency like in a week. You can become an Italian resident or citizen. I forget which one, but yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, someone else told me that. Oh, that's cool. All right. So what's
So
one thing you wish you could change in this world?
I kind of hate everything that's going on right now with with all the conflict everywhere around the world. I mean, obviously, it's not something that we have any control over, but in general, I mean, that's one thing I would change. I do have a lot of I do have friends and family that live in different places that are being affected by all this different stuff, and it's just a shame to see.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. One of the guys we might be doing an AI event
Yeah.
where marketing
Yeah.
goes. We have to
Yeah,
go to Prague.
I was there
We
in
just got more
February. I have a
fertility here and
cousin,
that, and
family that lives
it's
there, and my
it's a
cousin just
nightmare, man.
got married there in February. I spent about 10 days in Tel Aviv. It's actually throughout the whole country. It was a beautiful country. It was my first time also, and yeah, no, it was great. And so shame to see what's going on.
Yeah, but yeah, that's definitely one thing, man. I don't know how anybody could change that, but I kind of know. My dad would always say, "Watch
Yeah.
Israel when it starts ending, that something's gonna happen in Israel," and it's happening
So
now. So,
I
what's
can
one
tell
thing
you
you wish
one
you
thing
could
that I
change in your
recently
life?
did change, and it was a conscious effort because I knew that I needed to become the person that I wanted to be in order to be able to do what I'm doing now, and not think of myself as being hypocritical. And that was I actually lost 60 pounds in the last probably like 7 or 8 months or so, and it was based on the mindset change, and from there obviously everything else that came along with it. So not giving excuses, dieting right, nutrition, exercise. But at the end of the day, I knew that I had to start with making that commitment and that mindset shift, and so that's one thing I wanted to change, and I did. Well, I'm still working. It's a work in progress. I've lost, like I said, almost 60 pounds.
Yeah, but that makes sense, dude. I was
Yeah.
watching your fitness. I was like,
Well,
you're just sitting
I was
there
trying to
driving.
get back to
You're
where I
doing a
was,
half
because I did do a
marathon and
half
all this stuff
marathon when
too.
I was
Like,
31. So, right before my daughter was born, my oldest one. And then, I've always tried to maintain, a certain level of fitness, and just maybe in the last 4 years or so. And I'm not going to blame it on COVID. I think that's a cop out. You can always, do something. So, but yeah, it's just kind of, it's
I don't.
just,
I
it's
ate a lot of ice
the
cream during
discipline.
COVID. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
They closed gyms on us,
yeah,
but they left liquor stores open. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, listen, I
Yeah,
know
and
don't get
it's
me
funny
wrong.
because I
There's
literally
people who
live
do some
here,
stuff,
so
but
like that
you
beach
weren't
you see
alone
right
during
behind me. I mean,
COVID.
at one point, we were trying to go out and run. I'm talking about no one, within 100 yards, near us, and it's just my wife and I. And it's like they're like, no, the beach is closed because contact. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's like one person like 200 yards down the beach and no one else. And they're like, no, no, beach is closed. So to your point, right? But yeah, you can still go to a liquor store, but you can't get fresh air like on the sand. You know. This is I'm in Sunny Isles.
So where is that? Is that in South Beach? Where is that near?
Yeah,
Sunny. Yeah. Oh, I love Sunny Isles. Oh, wow, you're over there, dude. That's amazing. There was actually a girl who broke my heart. Yeah, not too long ago. Dated a guy for other money. There's a video of me and her. And I'm pointing in Sunny Isles saying, "I'll live there one day and get you back." Right? True story.
yeah.
So anyway, so it's cool. That happened not too long ago. Still a little painful. All right. So strengths or weaknesses. List off as many strengths you have. It's funny. I'm looking at what the one person filled out, and these are probably pretty good for you right here. Great speaker, honest, integrity, bilingual. You have that people person, good connector. I don't know about peacemaker, maybe. Sales
Yeah, I
skills,
mean, I would say those are
team
pretty
friend.
pretty spot
That's
on.
some
Maybe I
yeses,
should
and I'll say those are
maybe
pretty
connect
spot
with this
on.
person. Seems like we have a lot in common. But yeah, I mean, and you know, just going back to maybe you know what I said before. You know, discipline, resilience. You know, I don't really I encounter obstacles or challenges. I don't really call them problems. I try to I think one of my biggest strengths is, and this is something that I convey to my team all the time, anytime there's some sort of challenge or obstacle that we encounter, I don't dwell on the problem. I mean, I immediately shift the mindset, because a lot of times I'll find the conversation dragging on, like just kind of repeating the problem. It's like, hold on, okay, I got it, solution. Let's talk about. And I literally try to kind of snap the mindset of the meeting, of the conversation, to focusing on the solution, because otherwise we tend to do that where we just kind of focus on the problem, and it's like, okay, I mean, I can identify the problem 10, 30 seconds, a minute, and that's it. From there, okay, toss it aside and let's focus on the solutions, because we already know what the problem is. And something that I feel like we tend to focus on the problem for too long. Obviously, you need to identify it, but the minute you do, you need to pivot and start focusing on the solution. Otherwise, you just get bogged down.
Yeah, no, that's so true, man. I mean, you got it, man. You have everything. So, do you have any weaknesses, or three of them? And
Yeah,
like
I've been
mine all
working
the
on
time
that. That's
is
one of the ones
my
I've been
time
working
management.
on.
If you haven't noticed.
I tend to kind of, sometimes have to kind of check myself in. I get a little frustrated, or like kind of like up, like high strung, maybe a little, like not anxious, but it's just kind of like I want to, go, and so I don't know if I have to. My wife tells me,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I like you, man. Because I
yeah.
move fast. I love that about you. When I move
Yeah,
fast, you got
yeah.
to
My
keep
wife
up
always
with
has to
me.
remind me,
I get
cool,
so
calm,
mad when
collected,
people
cool,
stop
calm,
that.
collected.
And
So,
I say I'm gonna
so I
work
try
on
to
it.
remember her words whenever I start to get wound up.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
It's poise, man. You kind of learn it after a time. I'm still learning it.
Exactly.
But we're entrepreneurs, man. We move fast, and some people don't keep up. All right, I'll send you some videos later, body video. All right, so in this format, let's just do this quick. I'm gonna go into this right now. So in this format, emotion, value, subtle call to action. Okay. So in this format here, how would you kind of wrap up? If I had to say, so was 2008, was that your toughest point in
Um,
life, or what was the toughest point in life for you?
so yeah, it was 2008, and I'm gonna get more into exactly how things went down, but I was on the verge of basically I pretty much lost about everything from a material standpoint at the time. As a 28, 27, 28-year old, I was doing pretty well for myself. And as all that was happening, sort of like what really just kind of set me over the edge was that, unfortunately, I had my younger sister, who was 19 at the time. She passed away unexpectedly, and she was in an automobile accident, and all this happened within the same like 6 month time frame, and like literally like everything around me crumbled. And so I had a choice to make, what direction I was going, if I was going to be bitter and hate the world and hate everyone, and just kind of just be miserable, or try to channel it into something positive. And that's, I mean, look, it was a dark 6 months, I will say, if not maybe longer. But I ended up channeling that into, we've since opened up the foundation for her. I'm on the board of on the advisory board for. It was started with the University of Miami Tissue Bank. She was a tissue and organ donor, and as a result, of her donation that we agreed to, 8 lives were saved. And I've been on the board. I've been serving on the board for the last since 2008. So going on the last almost 12, 15 years, and and then that's also when I started working. I decided to uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, reposition myself as helping consumers getting out of the foreclosure problem, and trying to help people that way. So it was something that it's I heard my Let's speak at one point recently, and he said something that brought me back to that, which is we have a responsibility to to ourselves and how we react to things, and it's our responsibility. We can't blame it on the world. But then he had a graphic up, and then he put the word responsibility, like the way we're used to seeing it, an equal sign, and then it said response ability. So the ability to respond to the things around you. And man, that got me. Like, I'm telling you this right now, and I'm getting goosebumps because it brought me back to that. And yeah, I did have, I finally, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, it's my responsibility to pull myself out of this. But when that kind of brought us full circle, and it made me go back all those years where, you have to have the ability to respond to everything around you and not use it as not a cop out. And I don't want to seem like brash or anything, but a lot of times we use certain crutches, like it's the world's fault, or the government, or this is happening because of this. And at the end of the day, it's no one's going to come to save us. So it's our responsibility to save ourselves, and that has a lot to do with your ability to respond. So therefore, your response ability. And that's not mine. That's all I my lad, man. But that guy's a genius, and like I said, I had an opportunity to meet him recently, and we actually had a little nice conversation, and I took a lot from that, man.
Yeah, no, dude, that's great, man. I
Yeah.
know Ed pretty well. I ran a webinar for him when my brother was doing insurance. I wound up at his house, and that's when we did the whole thing. But yeah, Ed's a power player. I still put it on his videos then, and that's cool, man. Even though Ed said it, the way you said, you explained it really good. It was extremely, it impacted me. And by the way, sorry about your loss, man. I did not know that. 100%. You having the foundation, everything. The same way I want to go and build Kokomo J's out here and honor my brother. This was my foundation. I didn't know you could set up a foundation. And I was like, I'm going to build out here in Midtown Miami. I lost my brother to drugs fentanyl. I'm going to build an honor of him.
Yeah.
People get where they want, you get to where you want. And that's what literally started this whole thing, man. And I feel like even certain, you remind me of my older brother, just even with the stories and success and everything. And that's why sometimes I'll see people successful, like, they live in there. And I kind of look like, oh, but what's really, I dig deeper because I didn't dig deep enough for my brother. And anyway, man, it's just crazy, man, that you actually went through all that, overcame all that. And it's funny, I'm going to send you a video that my brother did. It's like Grandmaster's story, but it's a little longer. But it basically talks about the same thing you said. Could I become bitter or become better? And man, you so much better build a foundation. So in this format right here, and kind of in there, emotion, value, subtle call to action, Bounty paper towel. You know Bounty paper towel? So what they did is they wound up advertising the quicker picker upper, but they had a puppy dog come on. They didn't show the vase that got knocked over, and then they showed the logo. And they advertised this years ago to people they couldn't even target audience, just hoping that they caught it. Because they're talking the psychographics, the person you're trying to reach. So a lot of time for you with this event and the Blueprint to Financial Freedom, and you with the passive income and everything that you've done to give back, you're being a coach for years, speakers, but now really, putting your flag in on that. A lot of times for it, now I know more, like, hey, have you ever, the best
Well, up until now, I'm saying, I'm a full-time investor, real estate developer. I run a small real estate private equity firm. That's all I've been saying up until this point, But I do honestly feel passionate about the ability to, I want to start changing lives, and I have been. I mean, I think I mentioned a couple of people that will actually be at the event that, since we've worked together, they've actually left their profession, and I'm talking about, engineers, medical fields, and I have already been able to impact lives on a smaller level, on a one-on-one level, and I'm hoping that now I can be able to share that with more people on a grander scale.
Well, dude, now you know me, man. When I'm a champion people, forget about it, man. I blast them everywhere. So 100%. And as long as I know it's good heart, I've had people pretty dealt well, as you know, kind of. You always got to feel it, especially in this whole Miami entrepreneur world, right? And I always, one of the great, do you know who Adam Weitzman is? Great guy. He gave me the best advice. I was on the phone with him, and he said, Jeff, to people on your side, don't pretend to be more than you are. At the same time, just tell people, especially because he goes, sometimes you got to blue smoke it to other people to make sure. But when people generally care, that's how you get the most help. And I've led with that, man. Oh my God, it's the most like riveting thing. So in the same form as Bounty Paper Towel, talking to psychographics, who's the perfect person that you kind of would love to coach, love to be a part of your investors den, your community? Who is that person that
For
you would talk
me,
to for
because
that?
I'm a big family man, and I kind of shared one of these things with you where, my wife was always very career oriented. I mean, she has a very high profile, high paying job. She's a hedge fund manager, and as our family has grown, she used to work for Blackstone. She works for a very large private equity firm now, and she was always, like I said, always very career focused. And now as her family has grown, she wants to get away from that. And so for me, it's anybody that has a family, a husband or a wife that really just wants to take control back of their time, regardless of the money, right? Because if it was about the money, she would keep her extremely high paying job. And it's not even about that. And now it's like you kind of start to realize, okay, it's more about the quality of your time and controlling that time and having that freedom. While, to me, money is a tool, it's energy, right? So by having that tool, that you're able to then really get what matters, which is that time back, right? That freedom, because really, and I've said this before many times, and it's something that might even be a cliche because you hear it all the time, but it's the truth that time is the only commodity you have you can never get back, because you can always make money back, right? You can always make more or whatever. But time, once it's gone, you never do get that back. And so that's my focus now, is for both myself and my wife to be able to continue to have that freedom, so we can spend the time with our kids, and as they grow, because we notice they're growing fast, at a blink of an eye. So to answer your question, it's someone in that position, someone that really wants to kind of get their freedom and their time and do the things that they enjoy, whether it's travel, spend time with family, with their loved ones, their passion project, foundation, whatever it is that they want to do. And so again, now it's to create that tool, that income that allows them to go and focus on what they want. Because I said this, I was on a podcast with Mike Venerio yesterday, and listen, I still work my ass off. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm sitting here and do nothing, but I'm doing what I want to do, what I choose to do. I like the development side. I have a bunch of development projects. I like to create. I like to build. It requires a lot of patience. I mean, I've had projects, sitting a year in building departments, which that's not paying the bills, right? But that's my passion. That's what I love to do. And so that's what it's about for me. So whatever that passion is for you, whether it's paint, whether it's travel, whether it's whatever, to have the freedom to do that. Like the people that that you're going to meet at my event, like Gaston, the engineer that quit, that just retired. Now he's a little bit older, he's in his 60s, and he retired, and he's with Zuso. But like Hughie, who's I don't even think she's 35 yet, and she was in the medical profession, and she just retired herself like 3 months ago to go do what she wants. And you follow her on social media, and she's always on her boat, but she still does what she wants. Now she's doing real estate full time, real estate investing full time, through some of the stuff that she learned working with me together, some of the education she got on her own, and it's just a compilation of everything, right? And so there's people already doing that within our group, within our circle, that are doing these things, and that's who this is for. Whether you're a 60-year-old engineer or a 30-year-old medical professional that just wants that freedom to do what you want, live your life on your own terms, and do it on one, spend your time on what matters to you.
Yeah, so perfect. So kind of your brand message kind of would be in this format. So if you ask me, hey, what do I do for work? And I was you, and I was looking to build an investors den as a community of people, I would kind of position it this way. And the words you have to remember is, have you ever? So instead of saying I'm a full-time investor in that, which you are, and that's credit to that, it makes you a commodity by telling a little bit of your story. Anytime people ask, and I want to give credit to, there's a great book called Amplify Your Influence by Renee. I was at an event with him. It was like a mastermind that I was at, right? One of the ones. And he was asking people not to tell them what they did, but tell a story. But I've been doing it for so long. He's like, all right, you're done. Sit down. You already know how to do it. But I always thought this is crazy because, like, as a chance to market and change lives, whatever God's put you through in your life, when I ask you, hey, what do you do for work? And you say, well, hey, have you ever want to spend more time with your family, have financial freedom, and live the life you want? Well, I have. In fact, In 2008, everything was stripped away from me. I was at the lowest part where I was at. And I was scared. I was in a 6-month fog, losing my sister, and depending on what you want to share, you can share whatever you want in this point, right? But this is where I came from. In 2008, losing my sister, then I figured out I would be resilient. So your one word is resilient. I'd be resilient and find a way, and I found a way to help people through foreclosures through the time. This helped me create the life for freedom for myself, being, with passive investor, and now I'm doing this for other people. I'm George, the passive investor, the relentless passive investor. If you want to put passive income, I wouldn't even use the word passive. People just know it. I'd be like, George, the investor.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it.
That's kind of the format, you see?
Sure.
So in that, and it's got to be in your words. I'll script it out, write it out more. But normally what I'll do is, and this we're on live, so we'll usually do it. I'll have you say it again. So now, anytime you're at a networking event and someone says, "Hey George, What do you do?" It's like, well, you ever wanted freedom? Boom, and you just say that. So we'll practice it right now in your own words, because you're such a good communicator. I'll say, "Hey, what do you do for work?" And now, all I want you to, I'll give you the first 3 words. You can kind of make it up however you want in this same format. Have you ever? The motion, then the values, the vision, and the subtle call to action is more like, hey, follow me. I might be putting on an event November 9th. You might want to check it out. People are like, oh my God, I've got to come to that event. And now when I'm sending messages to get people to the event, I'm like, hey, do you know of George? No, this is it. And now I know just how I did it for Angela. That's exactly like this is.
So have you ever wanted to take control, back of your time and really spend the time doing what you enjoy, whether it's spending time with your family, traveling, following your passion? So I show people how to take control back of their time, their financial freedom, and do exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, that's great. You want to put more story in it. That's good. Have you ever is perfect. You got that. But then you go into pitch mode, almost sales pitch, right? So wherever you want to go sales thing, you just go, have you ever wanted to do this? I have. You want to connect with so you want to connect with the guy, like the engineer. You want to talk to that engineer story. Where he was at, you're talking to him. Have you ever wanted to do this? I have, in fact. And even if you don't admit where you've been through, you can tell a story just like you did. This way keeps you credibility, but you're not like me. I have no problem saying a girl broke my heart. That's like horrible. She left me for a guy with more money, right? Some people don't have that. So if you don't, you tell a story of have you ever wanted to keep freedom? Well, in fact, I saw a guy who is exactly your lifetime thing. Working a job, everything. This is the engineer guy you're talking about. And he created a life by showing
Fajardo.
this, right? And how do you say your last name, by the way?
Fajardo.
Fajardo.
Yeah, Fajardo.
That's a cool name. So I'm George Fajardo. George Fajardo. Is that Fajardo? I'm George Fajardo, or however you want to brand yourself as your name. I was doing it as Jeff. I have someone else coming back to this place now too. But that's kind of how it's done. So here, try it again. Really quick. And me and you, listen, I'm going to be at the event. We're going to be there. I can't wait, dude. It's going to be amazing. So if you guys want, where can they go?
Awesome. Welcome.
He's already coming. He's in California right now. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna get some people. I got to send him the link, and we got to make sure it's all good. So okay, really quick, last time, tell them more a little bit in this version. We can talk about it later, but
have you ever wanted to take back control of your time and have the financial freedom you want to pursue your passion and do the things you want to do, enjoy time with family, travel? Well, since the past few years, that's been my focus, and I've been able to start, achieving my dreams. I don't even do that now. You're putting me on the spot. I got to work on it. You see, there's totally unscripted. Totally unscripted, man. So I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. You don't listen. Sorry, I love you, brother. You don't dip. What you do the same thing Robert does. Robert's extremely successful now, making a lot of money, and he's like, Jeff, I don't want to do any stocks.
I don't know if I do.
Ray Dalio? Ray Dalio?
Okay.
He's a billionaire. He wrote the book Principles and Changing the World. I say his last name wrong. I'll send it to you. But he's one of the hedge fund managers, the biggest guys in the world. He has a master class. And he sent me the video. He goes, "Hey, Ray Diaz
Everybody
has a
does.
soft
Yeah,
story
everybody.
too." And he talks about losing everything and everything like that, right? So it's a form of marketing that one thing I like is people are authentic like you are, right? And honestly, some of you just don't want to go there because you don't need to, because it's that, but it does connect. It reaches more people, right? Like I'll admit, when you were just telling me your story and you told me how you built the foundation, you lost your sister, my heart went. I felt that, okay? Everything you felt before, no offense, for me at least, I'm not driven by, I do like Miami, I like lifestyle, but there's something with, oh, this was the event I was going to show you. I don't even know if I can get it up. Someone's got to come back here too again. So by the way, thank you so much for your time and everything and trusting me to sell at this place for you. We have, how many, like, we're gonna it'll be great, man. It's gonna be good. This one will be this is gonna be such good. We have Mike Vanair there, who's an Airbnb guy who know he's shared stage with Brad Lee. I know who he is. We have you there, which is all we really need. I told to Angela because she's like, oh, to feature all the other speakers. I said, no, it's just you. So this is your event. So we have you there more than ever. And I mean that. Like, everybody's cool. Those are different points that you get to choose the people who have a special skill set that you put a badge on or know, hey, Mike knows this stuff about that. He might be joining us. Let's go, right? So as long as they trust you, that's what they'll do. And they'll trust you more with the story. But here, let me show you this. I want to show you this one thing from the Vault. The Vault is an event. Out of all that, and we've been to, I'm sure we could probably compete on how many masterminds and coaches we paid for over the years, right? I know. That's why I like, one thing I like about me and you, we respect each other's business, but Andy, who's one of my business partners, he got on the phone with me. I was kind of in the same situation as you. And he's, no, Jeff, you don't need anything more, man. He's like, you just got to do it. You have it. We just got to get you in front of the right people, you know? And so it was just cool.
Yeah, no, that's funny because I got to run too. I have a 2 o'clock I got to get to myself. So.
All right, well, we'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, so it's the Investor Den Blueprint to Financial Freedom Summit.
Okay, Investor Den's Blueprint to Financial Freedom. Dude, that's so sexy. I gotta say it that way, man. Especially being in Florida, being in there. Me, dude, I'm such an entrepreneur where I'll make money, I'll invest in other companies and stuff. Which maybe if I learned a little bit of your blueprint, man, we'd probably.
Listen, and if you're actually, it's 1 o'clock now. I'm just throwing this out there. If someone that's watching this happens to, speak Spanish and you happen to throw on Univision, you'll probably catch me on News Cafe right now. We recorded a segment this morning, and it's airing live now at 1 o'clock. So.
Dude, by the way,
well, it's one of it's just kind of one thing led to another, and I got invited on to do a financial segment for them not too long ago, about a month or two ago, and since then they've invited me back a couple times to different shows, and I'm actually scheduled to go back again on Friday. And kind of they've been really gracious, honestly. Such an honor that they've taken me in, and now that I've gone 3 times, Friday will be a 4th. It's almost like they treat me like part of the family now. I mean, everybody's so gracious and friendly, and yeah, no, it's been great experience.
All right. Dude, that's awesome. Maria Flores, who's a girl that I've worked with before. Maria, you got to come down to this event. I know she wasn't going to come down to the female one. She was judging and all, but this is the Blueprint to Financial Freedom with the guy on Univision, on News Cafe that you love. She loves it. You got to come see him. It's a beautiful location. All right. DM me event for offline tickets. We'll probably run a little contest, but doesn't mean not to make it. I'll throw something in as well. I'll be there, and more importantly, the News Cafe of Univision, George, will be there as well. So, all right, brother. All right, we're gonna come up with my team. We'll set it up, and we'll get.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. So I'll leave you with a nice view. So a little preview of what you're gonna get that day. Hopefully, it'll be a nice sunny day. It will be a nice sunny day.
Wow, dude. Yeah, we'll get anybody in here.
Yeah, listen, we have got speakers flying in from California, from the Northeast as well. And so, yeah, so, we have.
Dude, everybody comes to Miami, especially Sunny Isles. Sunny Isles is one of the nicest places over there as well. I'll probably be there in 5 years when
yeah. And listen, I didn't really announce this, but this is actually, like I said, I live here. Like this is the beach club where I live. So I'm actually basically inviting people into my home. I mean, this is the type of connection I want to have with everybody that comes. And so you're literally going to know where I live when you come here. I mean, you won't have my unit number, but I won't give that out. But you know, you're going to know exactly where to find me. If you yeah.
So that's awesome because then you're creating like a family community.
Exactly.
That's an amazing way to do it.
No, that's the plan.
You can host your own masterminds, you know, down there later on down the road and all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah, dude, that's
Take care.
that's
All right, take care, guys.
Man.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Very good. Thank you so much.